I've been alive now for about 16,000 days, a little over that. That's about half what's expected to be my life expectancy. And to tell you the truth, I don't remember most of those days, at least not vividly. But December 13th, 2011, is a day that I do remember vividly. I was in San Francisco giving a talk at a conference, and the talk ended. I went to the airport to board my flight. They upgraded me to first class, which is so fantastic, because if you're an entrepreneur, you're always traveling. And this is a red-eye flight, so I could get on the flight and I could sleep all the way home, which I did. The plane landed, and I got up, walked off onto the jet bridge, and I walked 10 steps, and then I collapsed. I completely blacked out. To me, it felt like I had experienced death. The next thing I remember, I'm at MGH, and I'm surrounded by nurses and doctors. I'm being pulled out of a CT scan, and a doctor comes up to me and he says, "We know what happened to you. It's fatal. You suffered a bilateral pulmonary embolism in both lungs. By the way, we're still not sure if you're going to survive. So you better start making preparations, call your family." And I thought, boy, I hope they're wrong. I really, really hope I make it. Okay, so this is how the story ended. I did live. Yeah. And I'm really grateful to all of the doctors and nurses at MGH. They are my heroes. I also feel really fortunate because when I had the embolism, it was at Logan, and as many of you know, it's only 10 minutes away from some of the best hospitals in the world. I consider myself really lucky. And it's just amazing how events throughout the course of our lifetime and the coupling of those events with space and time can just be so profound. And after this event, the embolism, I'd get a lot of follow-ups, and I'd go to my doctors, and I'd ask, could you have predicted this and even prevented it altogether? And I always got the answer was, well, this was just chance. There's no way. It's like trying to predict a black swan event, especially because you were still really healthy. I was deeply, deeply dissatisfied with that answer. I'm a theoretical physicist turned computational biologist, and I've dedicated my life to using math, data, and computation to understand what drives our health, our transition to disease, and how to predict patient outcomes in an optimal way so that patients have a chance of beating their odds. You know, as physicists, we predicted the existence of the Higgs boson decades before we verified it experimentally. We made that prediction via mathematical equations. So why can't we do this for our own health? We're living at an unprecedented time in medicine where we can measure so many things, and at every relevant scale. We can go in and measure every gene variant across your entire genome. We can look at and measure the expression of many molecular changes in every cell, tens of thousands of those. We can use advanced imaging technologies to peer into your organs and your physiology, and we can monitor the state and health of your microbiome, not just at one point in time, but across our entire lifetime. And by the way, this is unprecedented. We couldn't even do this 10 years ago. So it's amazing now that we can collect all of this data on patients and individuals. And you're like, okay, why is that not enough? So here's the problem. This is the data. And underlying that data is complex biology that we still have to figure out. It's still a black box, and we really still don't quite understand how the system works. So even if you collect all of the data, and you throw at the problem lots and lots of computers, and near infinite number of computers that can chug away throughout the course of the entire lifetime of the universe, or many universes, we're still not going to be able to figure it out. So what we need to understand and figure out is how we can unravel that complexity directly from the data. How can we do this? It starts with math. And not just any kind of math, but math that allows us to tease out and learn cause and effect relationships directly from data. What's the mechanism that's driving this biology and how it works? And it's a very different kind of math. It actually won Judea Pearl the Turing Award in 2011. And we can use this math now, starting from data, to tease out this complexity. And we can combine it with large computational horsepower, lots of computers now, with this causal mathematics to start to learn and unravel the mechanism underlying the biology. So rather than something being a very computationally intractable problem, taking many computers over the course of not just a single universe, but the lifetime of many universes, now we can do this calculation in a matter of days. I like to call this causal machine learning because we're going to use now the mathematics of causality, of data, and of many processors that can chug and generate trillions of calculations to do this learning. So let's take a look at how this actually works. Let's go through a real-life example. These are cancer patients, newly diagnosed cancer patients, and when they present their disease to the physician has to make a choice as to what to treat them with. And there's many treatment options out there. And you can give these treatment options alone, you can give them in combinations. And to tell you the truth, right now it's largely a guessing game. Okay? So what we want to do is get the guesswork out of this. So we're going to take now these patients, and we're going to perform measurements. We're going to look at genetic variation across all of their tumors. We're going to measure molecular changes. We're going to monitor their electronic medical records over time and look at lab values and patient-reported outcomes. We're going to now take all of that data generated from these patients, and we're going to learn, using causal machine learning, the actual circuitry, the biological networks that gave rise to their data, how genetic variation influences changes in their molecular circuitry and that physiological response. And once we've learned this model, this algorithm of their disease biology and their likelihood to respond to treatment, now on the computer, we can run in silico simulations. And we can start to predict what's the right treatment intervention for that individual, patient by patient, running through every possible treatment scenario. And not just for these cancer patients that were part of this study, but also new cancer patients, because we've learned the algorithm, the model, the mathematical model that allows us to predict this. We're living in quite a remarkable time right now where we can actually now do this. This capability exists. And we've been able to do this in a very short period of time. And so to me, given that we have this capability to predict our biology and predict how we can intervene to get to the best possible outcome for patients, then our challenge becomes, how do we apply this to every disease and every aspect of our health, including how we age? I want to figure out a way for us to get there faster. Not decades from now, but right now. Okay? Because I personally have no interest in reliving the breakdown of my biological system. And I look forward to a time where we can predict these life-threatening events well before they happen and actually prevent them. Not just for me, by the way, for every one of us. Thank you.